Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content.
So good afternoon, welcome, or good morning, or good afternoon, welcome. I'm Bill Gross, and welcome to our Probate Mastery Real Estate Agent Coaching Call. We do this almost every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's recorded as well. I'm Bill Gross. I'm a real estate broker here in Los Angeles, California. I'm not a full-time coach kind of guy. I'm a broker. I sell houses for a living. I list houses, sell houses every day, and I came as a mastermind as a participant for a while, and then was a substitute teacher for a while, and now I've become kind of the regular in that place. But I'm one of you, and the purpose of this call is to help people be more effective in using the Probate Mastery products, services, and concepts in building their business as a real estate agent primarily. We can talk about investing and flipping and wholesaling. I've done all of those, but I'm primarily a real estate agent. Kind of FYI, or in passing, I want to point out that this is associated with probatemastery.com. This is part of that program. And at probatemastery.com just went through a change. Chad Corbett had launched it as was the founder, and now Bruce Hill is the proprietor. But I think you're going to find some continued growth in the program. I'm really excited about what's going on. Different programs, if you want the basics, if you want to get certified, and there's other courses and bundles, so you can feel free to look at the redesign on the website. And there's the Earn program, or Earn Attorney Referrals Now program, which is another add-on to the program. And then Probate Principles and Practices. There's Foundations program. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So feel free to jump in and take advantage, look around a little bit. And then there's also a Facebook group. We have 6,800 members approximately, and people go in there and looking for people to work together, which is great. Referrals, leads, and love to have you participate in that. So that part's free and open to anybody. Separate from that, I just, a little self-promotion. I host the program probateweekly.com every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, live stream on YouTube and Facebook. Probateweekly.com will bring you here. If you want to see the past episodes, you can go to episodes.probateweekly.com, and you can see the YouTube episodes of the past few weeks, actually a few years. And then I have a Facebook group as well called Probate Weekly. We have about 2,900 members, and people there come in and post and say hi. And feel free on mine. I can't say I know the rules on estate planning, but on mine, feel free to post any probate related content. And the reason I say that is if you have a YouTube on probate, post it here, you'll get more views, and that'll help drive your traffic up. So I want to be a resource to help you in your business going forward. Okay. And then before we jump into questions, if you have questions, this is meant to be participative. Feel free to jump in here and raise your hand and or put in the chat box if you have a particular question I'd love to help you with. I just want to, kind of, before we start, to just cover one topic, which is, I think it's really important to think of ourselves as a business. And I think that most real estate agents, in my experience, I've coached thousands over the years now. I was a coach full-time, and I continue to coach my team. I have a national network I'm building. I have 43 agents around the country on that. And so I'm always trying to help other agents build their business. And the common theme I find is the starting point where the mistake starts is the mindset that some of us entered into real estate as our first business. We were employees at some job, and we took that mindset into our business called real estate. And we really run our real estate business like we're employees of the broker. And there's a lot of implications of that. But one is that we don't think longer term like a broker, and we don't hold ourselves accountable to results like a business owner. We think of ourselves like an employee. As long as we don't get fired, we come back and work the next day. And I think the two things I would say that how does that really look in my business is, number one, and why I'm here. Number one, I'm always looking to add new systems and procedures. I'm not looking to work and sell real estate the same way for the rest of my career. I'm constantly launching new initiatives that then they on their own can be delegated to a process, a procedure, or somebody else. And then I go and develop a new process or procedure. So a lot of you know, one of my focuses is attorney referrals. One of the things I'm launching is an email mastermind class or email masterclass. And I can just share with you guys, not selling it here. I only had the link to sell it if I wanted to today. I'm going to sell for $97. I'm going to give it for free to my customers, obviously, and reduce rate to my team members. I'll probably give it here at a reduced rate too, just because you guys are all kind of friends. But the point of it is, I'll just share with you a fact. MailChimp, one of the largest email providers, did a study and determined that the best open ratios of any industry is government. They average about 29% open rate. Real estate agents average 19% open rate on their platform. I average over twice that. I average 39% open rate on my mail program with MailChimp. Not only that, I think that I've doubled my database recently. I think I shared the story on this call where I was emailing about half my database who I identified as COI and targets over the years. And I had another equal number, sorry about that, equal number that I didn't really know who they were in my database, but I didn't have them marked as COI, so they weren't getting my emails. And I just tested and doubled my database by sending it to the other half. And the open ratio there was like 38.5% open ratio. Meaning I doubled I've coached agents for years. You should be sending out to more people. And I wasn't even paying attention to my own marketing. And the third thing I would say is as a result of watching my open rate rise over time, as I'm collecting people who appreciate my content and people who don't or unsubscribing, that's fine. I send out more emails more frequently. And so what I would share with you is, if you can double your open ratio, if you can double then your contacts and then double your frequency, you go for the same work basically to about 8 times the contacts of the people that know, like, and trust you. So that's a concept I know is true. I'm going to take that to my attorneys. Now, I can't just go to them and say, hey, I have a class for attorneys, because they won't, knowing attorneys, they don't respect that. I'm going to offer the master class to real estate agents as well. And then go to my attorneys and say, hey, by the way, I have this great class. It's free for you if you want to do it, on how to improve your email to drive more traffic to your business. I do these things in 90-day increments. I write a plan out. I go through steps. I talk to my virtual assistants. I delegate as much of it as I can. My goal is at the end of 90 days, if I have this program, I can offer it every 90 days or do it every 90 days, but I don't have to run it all. All the email and the marketing and the setup is done, and it runs on its own. And I have other programs I've designed that run on their own about every 90 days. Maybe I show up to a networking event once a month in mid-Wilshire in LA. If you're in LA, I'd love to have you come to Brew Real Estate. The only thing I do is I show up now. I set up the system, and we have different marketing pieces that go on, email and Eventbrite and Meetup and so on. And the only thing I do is I show up and make note of who is there, and I put my credit card down to buy the beer. Other than that, I don't do anything else. Who else would like to have an event where you have 20 people every month meet you in person, right? For me as a realtor, that's a good deal. My purpose of all this is to say your goal as a business owner should not be to constantly do the same thing. It's the antithesis, I think, of Mike Ferry teaching you for the rest of your life, you're going to spend 4 hours cold calling. I would say the opposite. Spend 90 days figuring out how to do it, and then delegate to somebody else, and then do something else. Why I'm on this call, and that's a long way of saying this, is I'm always looking for new ideas, new ways, new procedures. And that's, how do I do that? By talking to other people who are better than me, or maybe they're better than me at something to learn from, or they try something else that fails. So that was my purpose of being on the call. That was my purpose of joining this call initially, was to learn from you, share with you, maybe share what I'm working on to get your feedback or input on how it may or may not work. Because what I can tell you is the cold calling of leads. I know Bruce and I disagree a little bit on this. I just want to say it's a tough way to go, particularly in competitive markets. And I'll share with you, I'm the executor on the state. What that means is somebody came to me and said, hey, Bill, we need somebody to be the petitioner. And in California, you can get paid to do that. You get paid as much as the attorney, up to the same amount the attorneys can charge. So I thought it'd be fun to do. I learned a lot. I'm doing it. As a result, I get all the marketing from the realtors in the area. The properties in San Diego, probably the hottest market in the country, I think determined by Redfin and Zillow as the most expensive per lead because it's the most competitive market. I get mail, phone calls every day. I see the garbage people send out. I get them literally. Here's one in yesterday's mail. I don't want to get into the details with it, embarrass anybody. I got a text yesterday. Okay, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a little bit. Can I do that? Can I get up to the pulpit and preach? If you're offended by this, let me know, but I'm going to preach a little bit. I got a text yesterday. So I'm literally on the phone with my daughter, who's in the emergency or in the hospital, getting ready to have a baby. Now, we're close and we're chatting away. It wasn't like an emergency. But my wife, the phone rings, and I get this text. My wife comes in a panic. Bill, did you see that text? No, what's the text? And basically it starts off with condolences for your recent loss. Now, one of our best friends had gone to the hospital the day before. I took him to the hospital the day before. We didn't really know what was happening with him. My wife's thinking maybe he died and somebody's texting us. But this agent, and they may be on the call for all you know, I don't see their name, texted me at my work text and my wife's text, a group text that's, I want to say, I don't know, a page long, a paragraph long, that starts off with my condolences. Now, this is for a probate I'm the executor on that we filed the probate case 6 months ago. And the decedent died, I never even knew him. But because they're cold texting everybody, number one, I'm on the do not call list. That's 3 violations. They don't put their DRE number. If you're in California and you do marketing, you're obligated to put down your license number. They didn't. Their names were a little hard to figure out. And I'm not sure what to do with it. Part of me wants to call them and learn more. And part of me wants to say to them, this isn't the way you should do business. Part of me says, oh, I don't care. They're probably idiots and that's their business. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do. But my point is, thank God that's not me. They're agents who were producing, their business is off. I looked at their numbers, and this is their best idea on how to get business. Cold text. If I read you the text, I think you guys would laugh. It's so long, it's just offensive that you would send somebody. It's like one of those texts. I imagine if you break up with your girlfriend, that's the kind of text you get. Just it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. What was the point of the whole thing? Basically, you're the executor of this estate. You want to sell the property. Hello, Bill. This is blank and blank. We're real estate agents in the San Diego area with blank real estate. I'd love to see their name to embarrass them. And I hate that company. We hope you're doing well as can be expected. This is about a probate I'm just executor on. We understand that this may be a challenging time for you. And we express our condolences for your loss. This is what my wife saw. She panicked. Who died? Can you imagine getting that text? We're reaching out because we specialize in assisting families and individuals who are dealing with probate properties. We've experienced investigating. So for all of you who think it's clever to text like that, I don't care. I'm pretty much, I don't know if I have any emotions. I might be part robot or something. But my wife was like really upset. And you can imagine with a friend in the hospital and her daughter in the hospital, you get a text that starts off with condolences like that. She freaked out. You might say she overreacted. Okay. Could you imagine a customer being upset with that and calling the do not call list enforcement? Can you imagine them? You could file a lawsuit and get $1,000 a claim, maybe settle for half of that. Can you imagine people would do that? Don't be that person. So anyhow, there you go. That's my rant for today. It's a business. To me, cold texting like that to somebody isn't a business. I don't know. It's desperate. Is that just me? Does that sound desperate? Or is that just me? Am I being too harsh? You guys are all going, why texted that same thing this morning to my prospect list? Ooh, awkward. Sorry. Okay. I can go on. I could talk about probate all day long, but this is for your guys' opportunity to learn, get better, improve, ask questions, share victories. I could share a few, but I want you guys to share some victories, share losses, challenges. How can I help you guys?
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
This is Renee.
Hey, Renee, what's up?
Don't have any wins, but I do have a question for you. The principals class that was being offered for those who are part of Mastery already, that we were able to sign up for $99. The links for that is not working. I've tried several times and have been unable to access it yesterday or today.
When we first started, McKenna pointed out they're changing over the server domains, and she put a link in the chat box I sent to you right now. Did you try courses.probatemastery.com? Did you try that link she gave us just now?
I did, but it has a cost of $300 on it.
Okay, so I'm not sure, McKenna, what's the best way to reach McKenna? Go in the Facebook group and put that there. I don't know. I'm just the coach. I'm just a pretty face here. So actually, speaking of pretty faces, here's McKenna. McKenna, what should she do? What's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, hey. So Renee, I saw your message earlier and I had responded to it with the updated link. But I also just posted it to everyone here. So in the process of switching domains, originally that link said courses.magnumopusproject.com. And so we had to update that to courses.probatemastery.com. So this is the updated link for the $99 Probate Mastery Interactive.
I just clicked on that and it worked for me. So thank you, McKenna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Sorry about that. And again,
You're welcome.
I'd love to be able to answer those questions, but I'm just a pretty face here. So McKenna's like the brains behind this. I'm the beauty. So just FYI.
Okay. Stay pretty then.
Thank you.
You're
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you, McKenna, for being there. Peter Mark, hand up. Let's get you unmuted and bring you in. What's going on?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Doing great, man.
Hey, I just have a question regarding referral sources and the quote unquote team concept. You had mentioned a while back that when you have a vendor, you want them, not necessarily the vendor, but you want people to call you so that you can refer the vendor.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that? Because once they have the contact number or information for that vendor, wouldn't they just cut you out of the? I'm trying not to get cut out of the process.
You know,
I
think,
want them to call me. How does that work?
You know, I think that yes, they could. So here's my thinking. Could somebody cut me out and go direct? Yes. Will they? Not if going through me is easier or more pleasant or more valuable. So I think in these kind of relationships, I always feel like, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been called by a wholesaler or somebody going, I got this great property. What is it? I can't tell you, but it's great numbers. What can you do with it? Well, would you buy it? I don't know. And I always tell people, check me out. I can't speak for every other realtor in America, but here's what I can tell you. My license is online. My phone number is online. My email's online. Check me out. If you can't trust me, then we're just not going to do business. And I'm okay with that. Right. And so I think the other thing I would say is the kind of people who would go behind my back when I help them out with something instead of purposely use me as an excuse to engage with me and or excuse to learn from me. I'm okay with them going behind my back because that's their loss. Like, sorry, not sorry. I think that my goal is to be so good that people can't think of working without me. Now, that's the standard I set. It's a high bar. I don't reach it all the time. I don't reach it probably most of the time, but I reach it enough to get the business I'm getting, and I work at being better every day. And that's about the best I can say is I don't really worry about it. So for example, I've had attorneys call me and ask for deeds, and I go online and I pull the deeds up and myself, or if it's a bunch, if it takes 2 minutes or less, I'll do it. If it's longer than that, I send it to my VA and she'll pull them for me. And I'll send the attorney back and they'll say, well, do you want to just give me the link and I'll do it myself going forward? I said, no, I want you to email me. I want you to call me.
Right.
I want to have a relationship with you. So now, could they read the deed, the name of the title company, and reach out to a title company and maybe get the rep's name and call them and set up their own account? I'm sure they could. Why would they? Because if I make it easy and pleasant enough, they're not going to. So same with I do probate cash advances. So I've interviewed every source I've had on my YouTube channel one time or another. Could agents go behind my back and go to them directly? Sure, good luck. I mean, if you don't need me, then you don't need me. But I needed me to put all the time I did in to figure out how to get it done properly. That's why I did it. And if you want me to use it to do it for you, great. If you don't, I'm fine either way. And Peter, I say this truthfully, I really don't care.
Right.
That's the goal.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, thanks. I was on the phone with I have a listing lead, a probate listing lead that I brought to the attorney. They signed up with the attorney, but they don't yet have letters from California. They can't sign up with me until they are approved by the court. It's not legally binding. And I had a meeting with them and I was talking to the attorney about it. And there's a brother and a sister. And the brother, I could just tell on the phone, really wants to use me. And the sister, for whatever reason, really is kind of standoffish and doesn't want to. So I was talking to the attorney who I referred the case to. He's very appreciative. And he thinks I'm literally reading his case notes and correcting his filing, even though I'm not the attorney. as a favor to him because I'm helping him. He's my client in a sense. And he's saying, are they going to use you as a realtor? I said, I don't know. I don't really care. If she doesn't by now think I'm good enough to sign up with, then I'm not sure I want her as a customer. Because, we all have those customers. It's just a pain to work with, the whole escrow. Life is a lot simpler without those people.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks, Peter.
All right.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Sounds awful to receive. Oh, Debbie's referring back to that text. Yeah, that text. I'm not figuring what to do. I'm saving every letter. I'm noting every text, and I haven't got any cold emails. Kind of interesting factoid, but I have gotten cold calls. I'm on doing a call list, so everyone is a violation. I've got one guy who's mailed me, I think, a letter every week for about 10 or 12. I don't know how many. I have a folder over there. I keep putting them in. But I get about a letter from him a week. I must have 10 or 12. I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of money to spend. We're never going to list with him, but seems like a nice guy. Anybody here do cold calling and want to make the case why that's the right thing to do? Or Peter does? Okay. Am I off base, Peter?
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Oh,
I'm in the middle of doing a text.
oh, you have your hand up. Okay. I'm sorry.
So no, as far as cold calling, yes, I cold call.
And do you cold call? Do you start off with kind of the whole thing about sorry about your loss and go into that, or you just go into the
no, I pretty much the letters that Chad had developed, I pretty much started out following that as like a quasi script, but I start out telling them I don't even mention real estate, until they bring it up. But I start out by telling them I'm a probate specialist in the Denver area. And then it just flows from there. And, I say, I see you've been assigned as the personal representative for the estate of so-and-so. And then I kind of verify information. And I try not to ask the yes or no questions, but sometimes they slip in and, sometimes they're like, I already have a realtor or I already have a lawyer. And when they say that, it just, I just lead with, well, that's great. It's so-and-so is an awesome attorney. An attorney is great to have on your team, but I do when the attorney's services stop, that's where I pick up. And I just had it here a second ago. I have a little 3-column cheat sheet that I send in my packet, and it has what the attorney does in one column, what the personal representative does in this middle column, and then what I can do with the personal representative. And the attorney has about 3 check marks, and then the rest is all, PR and myself. So they can see it in front of them, whether it gets in the circular file cabinet or they read it. I don't know, but I get most of my business from referrals from my attorneys. But I do still occasionally do cold calls.
And do you cold call? Do you start with sympathy?
No, I don't. Just because by the time in Colorado, but they can't get leads until it's per a court order. They can't get leads until the public notice is in the newspaper. So these people have already gone through their grieving process and they've already filed their public notice. So they're well past that stage. So I don't start there.
Right. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think if you start with that, you're already kind of admitting I shouldn't be calling you, but I need to because I want to get a listing. And it just sounds to me so slimy. Where you're talking about is more of a service, and I think that's where chat comes from. And then you're calling the same people you're mailing to, or do you call people you don't mail to, or what's your strategy? Is calling and mailing?
I mail after. I call. So we have there's a database that we can access in Colorado. And that gives us the public notices. So I kind of do what all the leads does for free. I kind of do the legwork myself. I get the public notice, and then I look up their contact information from another database, and I call from that. And then once I speak to them, that's the number and the email and everything that I go into. And like I said, the public notice has already been done. So even if they shut me down and say no, I just ask them, hey, you mind if I send you a packet or send you some information? And most of the time, they're very receptive to that. I mean, you do get your occasional people that hang up the phone and, take me off your hit list, but on to the next one,
Do you ever mail without having talked to them or cold call them?
I used to, and I've for a couple of years, but I got zero responses from. Well, my very first probate I did 5 years ago. That was the result of a mailing because I was doing a flat rate, figuring that might help them, but it didn't do anything. So I stopped doing it. I used the phone.
I appreciate you saying that. Give us the details, because I find on other coaching calls, it's all about, well, mail out, and then do your calls. And it really should be the opposite, because the calls are probably going to help you disqualify some and cut your mailing costs, right?
Yeah,
That way I think you
I
mail.
don't. I don't mail them unless I talk to them first.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I wouldn't know.
I mean, if they don't need you, they don't need you. If they have somebody else, have at it.
And all the mail in the world is not going to change that reality. Like I said,
Right.
I got this stack of mail from this. I'm going to end up calling this guy afterwards saying, just to let you know, I have all of them. And, if you're interested in talking about the strategy, we can learn together what worked and didn't work. But, and they're cute, handwritten postcard, all very, this is a guy who just said, I'm going to spend whatever it takes to get it. And apparently there's no limit.
Well, I do the postcard thing, even if they shut me down. Or they say they have another realtor. I do send them a card saying, hey, thanks for speaking with me. If you need anything or have any questions, feel free to call me. Yada, yada.
Nice. Nice.
And I'm actually making up this woman's folder right now. That's what I was doing when you asked me the question. But I have a client up in Greeley, which is up north of the metro area. And I did the check to see what property she owned. And it turned out that there was a property on the other side of town that was owned by a woman with the exact same name as the decedent. So the family didn't know anything about them. So I called, no answer, got in the car. I drove over there on a Saturday with my daughter, who's my 11-year-old assistant, stuck my card in the door because they weren't there. She called me up. She's like, what, she was kind of pissed at first. She's like, what's all this about? Why are you leaving cards? So long story short is she wants me to sell her house for her. It wasn't the decedent, obviously it was somebody else, but different birthdays. 49, the decedent was born in 49. This lady was born in 62. But just through talking to her and what I know, she's like, hey, why don't you help me sell my house? So, and that originally was a referral from an attorney.
Nice. Well, I think the moral story there is, we're in the talk to the people business, right?
It's
at the end of the day,
relationship.
I think it's about relationships. Well, great. Pierre, thanks for sharing. I didn't mean to put
no
you away
problem.
from your important prospecting. Thank you so much. Okay, there you go. There's some real life. I love the real life stuff. Terry Hunter's putting in the chat box that he used to cold call. We had a bunch of leads. Now they're scarce. Yeah, I would never mail without calling first. I just don't think that's going to be productive in the long run. But if you have a different experience, maybe if I was in a smaller, more rural or semi-rural area, I would, but not in LA when they're going to get 35 mailers, or San Diego, I wouldn't. Okay, other questions, challenges, comments? Nobody? I'm here to help, here to be of service.
Yeah, it's Elvis.
Elvis Forto, what's up?
Hey, man, just want to give you an update on where we're at with that deal that we talked about last week.
Yeah, talk to me.
So just to kind of give everybody a little bit of a background, I had gotten a listing and it's actually off of a cold call. I would mail people maybe 50 every 2 weeks, 100 a month of letters, and they were in sequence of every week so that they can remember me. At the same time, I would make phone calls in an effort to try to get a hold of them. So I got a lead that called me back from a listing presentation from the past, and it's a probate deal. So anyhow, they tried it with the attorney referred agent, and the property expired, and then they called me. And so as you and I were talking last week, the attorney had a difference of opinion in using me because I didn't have court confirmation experience, the ones where you have to take the offer upon the judge. And so up until now, we're still kind of waiting. The state, the administrators are waiting to hear back from the attorney on what's the next move. And I didn't want to butt in too much in regards to letting them know they're right. Like, hey, it's your decision, which agent you use. And so they're kind of more like on waiting on what the attorney, what's the next move? Where do we go from here? We have already signed the listing. Elvis is our agent. Let's move forward. So they're kind of just waiting on a response since last week from the attorney.
So they have their letters.
They're authorized. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they can pick whoever they want. And it's interesting how some attorneys get very involved and some attorneys are not at all involved. I do think that they should be involved in making sure that anybody who is an agent on a court confirmation, I think that's a legitimate concern, right? That you should be able to have experience or knowledge or have someone in your team that can help you with it, something. Otherwise, I think it's a tough road to hoe for a real estate agent to learn on their own. Particularly if you're at a smaller company, I think that's going to be a tough way to go. So interesting situation. So you're still working on that, on what to do with the attorney. And it's interesting how slow they are, the attorneys, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know my broker has experience with court confirmation, probate deals and all that. I expressed that to them, but maybe it might still be an issue for the attorney. I think he's adamant about using his people. I think that's what it falls down to.
Maybe it's referred by him or they pay for stuff for him, and who knows what this situation is. Well, thanks for the update. So at this point, you have the listing, you're waiting for the attorney to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I got to tell you, I have cases where I end up fighting with a paralegal. She's arguing with me over what has to be done in a court confirmation. She went to didn't know we had to publicize before we could accept offers. And then after we accept offers, she wanted to do some other publication. I said, no. Once we have an offer accepted, we filed a petition for the court date. We don't need another publication. Oh no, we should file the petition for the auction in court. No, you don't need to. It's not required. So it's just interesting how, I mean, humility is such a valuable personal trait. I got to tell you, I struggle with it. We all do, but when you see it in other people, it's challenging. Well, good luck. Well, thanks for circling back, Elvis. I appreciate the update.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you too.
Cool. Okay, so let's see. Winston says hi from Carol. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate the shout out. We miss him. I had a crooked lying attorney blow my 15-day all cash offer. They ended up selling for $100,000 less months later. Yeah, that happens. Attorneys, some are good. Top 10% are great. Bottom half, bad. Probably the bottom 8 or 9% are bad. Okay, hand up. Sherry Lund, what is up? Let's get you unmuted here and let's get you in the bullpen. What's going on?
I just wanted to, you mentioned your probate weekly a while ago, and I thought I would just let people here know that I have the probate podcast. I started that. Oops, I'm trying to lower my hand. There we go. I started that. I think this week is episode 9. So a couple of months ago, I launched, it's called the Probate Podcast. And I do interview some attorneys in the greater Houston area, but also I'm starting to branch out to other services that are national. My audience is really the person that is going through it to be a resource for executors, personal representatives. So anyway, if you guys want to come check it out, I would love to have you do that.
So what channel are you focusing on to promote your podcast?
I'm on YouTube, so it's a video podcast, and then it's also on Spotify and things. I don't think I'm big enough yet for Apple, but that's the next thing I need to look at.
Oh, I wouldn't say that you're not big enough for Apple. I would definitely say you can start there, and you can always add in, having done this now for a year, I'll put the link in for your podcast here, and I'm going to subscribe to it myself on YouTube. Do you have a domain name that you push people to, or you just put the links, or how do you promote it?
Well, I have, when how do I promote it? Well, you can Google the probate podcast, but if you, when I promote it on social media, I have the link each week for that particular episode. So when I talk to attorneys, I'm trying to take people through the questions like, what is probate? What is estate planning? What is special needs planning for special needs? I'm trying to really focus on them, but each episode with an attorney, I have a specific question that I want to answer about probate, just to try to get the public educated around that. But then I've also talked to someone recently about veterans benefits. I've talked to someone about Medicare. So it's not just probate, it's also the end of life retirement estate planning.
Now you did, I'm looking at your YouTube channel. Looks like you have done 11 videos. You just started a month ago. So this is a new venture for you, or is this a relaunch of your...
I never wanted to be a podcaster. I was never, but I kept talking to people who were frustrated, and they would call like overwhelmed, thinking, why doesn't anybody talk about this? Why there's no resources? And so, and then I saw that it was such a, I could see how it would be such a value to add to attorneys. And so it seemed like a good shoe-in to them. And honestly, I just got tired of telling them I want to have a podcast about probate. Would you like to be on my show when I get it started? And I couldn't just keep saying that. Eventually I had to do it. But anyway,
there's something
it's a work in progress.
Once you launch it, it's like, that's how I am with things. I just launch things, and then it forces you to get people to show up for it and to market a little bit. And then, I've launched a lot of things that didn't work. I'm as I started this call, I'm really into 90-day plans. And at the end of 90 days, if it's not working, to decide, do I want to continue or jettison and work on something else? And this is when I didn't start as a podcast. I started as a conference call, and it kind of morphed into a podcast for me. So, well, look, congratulations. It's definitely, I'm a subscriber. I know I've listened to bits and pieces of it. I don't listen to a lot of probate stuff because I'm in that world myself all the time. Sure. But definitely, I appreciate you doing it. And I'll probably steal some of your guests if I find anybody who's good. Don't be surprised. My best way to find guests for my podcast is other people's programs. So congratulations and good luck with it.
Thanks, Bill.
If I can help at all, let me know. Okay, good. Well, there you go. There's somebody stepping up in their business. That's exciting. Well, let me go back, Sherry. What was your impetus? What caused you to do this? You said you got tired of asking people to come on your venture podcast, but what was it that drove you to do it? Was it just the ability? Maybe you did say that you wanted to share the content people kept asking about. Is that the main focus?
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's not a lot, but I would say that the probate podcast, the information that I've seen that's on YouTube around is either by attorneys or it's marketing to realtors or investors for the probate market. Yeah. And so there may not be that much of a desire for people out there. I don't know. We'll see. But I did have an attorney. I sent an email yesterday to an attorney with a referral. And I thought it was funny when he was thanking me, responding to my email with the person that I had referred him to. He said, thank you for introducing me to so-and-so. And by the way, I'm really enjoying your podcast. I had no idea that he was even listening. But also, I don't know if the person that we were on the email together with even knew that I had a podcast. But here's the attorney saying that he's enjoying it. So that was nice feedback.
That's phenomenal. I think a couple tips, if I could help, that made it easier for me. One is go through your social media and emails and look for the questions you've been asked and answer those on video. Like when you get stuck on what to talk about.
Yeah, good idea.
And then, sometimes, I have agents call me on my listings about probate, and rather than say the same thing 10 times, I'll record it, put it on my YouTube channel, send them the link to it. I did that it's so funny. I did this last week where somebody asked me a question that I thought I assumed I had some content on it already, but I guess I didn't. So I shot a video, and it took me about 5 minutes to record something on how court confirmation works here in Los Angeles. Next thing you know, I had like 40 or 50 views. I had about 2 or 3 hours of people watching me talk for about 10 minutes worth of work. And that's what I look for, is the leverage. If you can get, more time. I don't have more time in the day. I don't want to work more hours, but I want to do more business. How? By being more productive. So your podcast is going to be that. Well, good. Sherry, thank you again for sharing.
Thank you. And I have to say, Bill, I heard you say probably a year ago, that you work in these 90-day increments. And I grabbed onto that. I really, really resonated with that. And I've applied that to myself in my own life. And I found that to be super helpful. It gives me some motivation, to get things done in that 90-day period. But also it gives me a little freedom to say, hey, it's just 90 days. Let's just try it for 90 days.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be set in stone. And so thank you for that tip.
Sure. Yeah. No, I could setting up a live event. I'll tell people, just book 3. Commit to doing it forever if it works out, but at least commit to 3. Don't do a monthly event and then go, well, should I do it again? Because you already lost momentum from that last event, right? For all the people who didn't show up to the event who said they would, that's your prospect list for the next event. So you have 3, you kind of have some built-in momentum and growth there. But at the end of 3 events, you can just cancel it. It doesn't, it's not like you're stuck forever. So yeah, I definitely do things in 90-day sprints and projects, and then look at the end of 90 days, does it work or not? If it doesn't, jettison. If it does, hopefully I can, the goal is to hand it over the work. Like on the podcast, I have a virtual assistant who does all the administrative work. She and I meet for a half hour a week. I don't really do much other than show up and talk about probate or interview somebody. So it's worked great. Okay, great. Well, thanks, Sherry. Thank you so much. And again, congratulations. Really excited to hear about what you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, super great book is the 12-week year. Yes, excellent. 12-week year is fantastic. 4-hour work week is another one. I use Tim Ferriss as an example. But again, I think it starts with starting as a business person, not as an employee. A business person is always looking for new programs, projects, markets, systems, whereas an employee just shows up every day and what do I do today? Here's my to-do list, and kind of gets caught up in the momentum of it. So we don't want to be that person. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left. Questions, comments, challenges, victories, losses. Anybody? No? It's meant to be participative. This is your chance. We offer this as a coaching product, and I hope it's of value. I don't know. I got a probate lead off a Facebook ad. Stephen Hughes. Now you're just teasing us, Stephen. He's sharing with us he got a probate lead off a Facebook ad.
I can't do video at the moment. That's why I did it in the chat. But yeah, it's interesting. I've been trying to just figure out different ways of marketing. And so I have about 4 different Facebook ads I've been trying out, and they're connected to some ClickFunnels. Of course, there's like a video and sign up sheet, and I have it signed up to Zapier to go to my CRM. Haven't really had much success with it. I'm just kind of, real estate ads are interesting because you have to do a geographic area and all this jazz. But yeah, it's funny. This girl calls me, dad died, all this stuff. Ends up it's not going to have to go to probate. I just found out not too long ago, but it was initially a probate lead. And she's telling me everything, wants to sell the house, all this. And I asked her, it's like, well, how did you even get my information? And she said, I guess the algorithm knew I was looking for you. And, I saw the ad, and then I also found a couple of your videos on YouTube. So I think there's some power in that. So now I'm like, okay, it looks like I got a solid lead. So I'm going to try to, I guess, do it a little bit deeper, so to speak. So it's interesting because I moved north of Salt Lake City. So there's not as much probate business up this way. So paying for the data, there's like maybe 10 filings a month in the county I live in now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really small. Most of the filings for probate are down in Salt Lake County. And, they'll get 90 to 100 somewhere in there. But outside of that county, there's just not. You were asking for something, so I thought I'd share it. I don't really know if I have anything else to say.
No, I appreciate the update, and the number of leads is in a market's different, and yet I think the key would be to find ways to market. you know, and that's the other thing I was going to say about doing projects. I think you have to have multiple angles of attack, multiple lead generation strategies, but they should not be disparate. They should be interlocking and work together. What do I mean by that? If you're going to market to, you know, I don't know, any area, it should either be geographical or an entity that helps you get business from somebody else. And so for me, you know, an example is, and I'm a little older than you, been down this road a little bit longer than you. But I get a good part of my business is other real estate agents. I'm with a large national company, people who are new, need help getting the listing, and I can help them with that. And so marketing to attorneys helps attract realtors because it positions me as an expert. Marketing to real estate agents gets me a big audience, helps me in the eyes of the attorneys who see this, the huge audience that follow me in real estate. I can't get that many attorneys to follow me on YouTube without getting all the realtors I have who follow me as well. It's a team game. So I think the goal is to find additional ways of generating business that help other ways. I use email a lot. I couldn't do Facebook ads. I was shut out of Facebook wrongly. I was basically banned for life from Facebook because of wrongly interpreting my ads as being real estate related when I was promoting to realtors my coaching service. And that doesn't violate you can be age specific on that. You can't be age specific on real estate ads. And Facebook is just an evil company, I think, at the end of the day. No human being would ever review it, or the only human beings they have are somebody in China who doesn't know what they're doing. And I've been, you know, I only recently got reinstated 4 years later. It's almost like I'm Donald Trump, I think, got reinstated on Twitter. I can't get reinstated on Facebook until recently. But so I didn't have that as an option. And so as a result, I've had to learn other things to generate my business, email being the biggest one that I use the most probably, and events. I use events marketing quite a bit. So good, they all work, but the goal is, I think, Stephen, especially in a small market, then you need to smother people in your market with the probates to get their attention and talk to everybody who touches those files rather than just the petitioners.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for sharing. Vince asked a question: does everybody do their own marketing, or do you retain people, entities to do it on your behalf? Great question. Other people should feel free to answer. I feel like my job is generating business. So I don't know that I could ever delegate marketing. I could delegate, unless you're a bigger company. But at my level of business, I oversee it. I delegate a lot. I have 8 different virtual assistants doing different things. So I design a system and I delegate it, and I design it and delegate it and enhance it and delegate the enhancements. But basically, I find most marketing real estate agents to be not just a waste, but probably counterproductive. I've seen so many programs that agents on my team would pay for that are just completely waste of time and completely unproductive. Classes on things like YouTube and email and social media strategies that just make no sense given who we are as realtors. And I think that the best advice I give people is try to find the people, the thought leaders of the fundamentals of marketing. Gary Vaynerchuk comes to mind. In YouTube, Sean Cannell. These are fundamental, but you need to design the plan and use those tools for your business, because a lot of things that they coach don't work for us as realtors, or don't work for you, don't work for me, given my unique approach to my business. Okay, I think that I don't see other questions. Vince says there seems to be such a specialized area of expertise these days. I don't know, I would agree with you, Vince. I would say good fundamentals never go out of style. And I think that oftentimes real estate agents are susceptible to a sales pitch. Hey, you can skip the hard work if you do this. And there is no skipping the hard work. It's where you're going to work hard and what tools are going to use when you work hard to leverage your business to be more successful. AI, fascinating. I think a lot of the AI is overblown to realtors. I use it for writing descriptions on MLS. That's great. I use it for outlining classes or programs. But I think we're going to find, as agents, most of our AI use is going to be embedded in the applications we use. I use MailChimp, for example. They're putting AI into evaluating subject lines and content. So more of that. Okay, I'm going to run. My daughter had our second grandson last night. I see my son-in-law's here, so I'm going to jump off, you guys. If I can help you, I'm at Bill Gross Probate on social media. Call, text, email me. Thanks for being on. We'll see you guys next week. Okay. Thanks so much.